everyone. I hate this new intro. Hi, everybody. Hello. I'm also trying to go live on Instagram, but this thing will not let me live. It refuses, as you see me pressing this button, to simultaneously go live on Instagram. This is actually going to be a short show. Unfortunately, Twins is unable to make tonight's show, and so this is going to be an extremely short show, especially if I cannot get on Instagram. Um, and I'm supposed to be on Instagram, but it wouldn't allow me to go live. So while I figure this out, everybody, I'm going to figure this out right now and I'm going to make this work because I literally set this up and I refuse to not be able to go live after I have set this up. Ugh. It has been a night. How is everybody doing? I am going to miss Twins. This is why this is going to be a short show because I do not want to be talking to myself. We had a great uh, topic that we had planned, and now we're just going to do it next week. That makes the most sense for me to just do the topic next week when Twins is back. In the meantime, I'm going to try to get this live on Instagram right now. And once I do, I can then do what it is that I'm doing. Here we go. Let me try to copy this link. Shoot. Sorry, guys. I am simultaneously trying to do something that refuses to be great. That refuses to allow me to be great. So you guys are watching me try to figure out how to simultaneously do what it is that I'm doing. And this new platform is a little bit different for me. And so trying to figure out how to do multiple things at the same time, I don't even know if I'm on the screen right now, is proving a little bit harder than I would like. And so here I am. Hopefully you guys can see me. If you can't see me right now, you will. Pardon me, guys. Let me just figure this all out. And I swear, once I do, there will be quite a conversation that we're going to have. So let me figure this out right now. And then if I figure this out, then all will be well. And then I can go live on Instagram. Let's see if this is going to work. I'm going to go live or I'm not. It will not allow me to be great. I just want to be great and it will not allow me to be great. I am literally trying to press the go live button on this crappy iPad that I have and it will not allow me to do that. So everyone, as I said, Twins is not here tonight. Unfortunately, it is just me. I am happy to take questions um, for a little bit as I am trying to figure out my life here. And then once Twins is back, we will actually do the topic that I wanted to do because it's a discussion that is going around online. And it's not really polygamy, let's say. It's just if we as women are saying that there is not enough good men, do we need to try a new strategy? And some of the strategies that people are saying we need to try is to start sharing. So I would rather have that when I've got my male counterpart on the show because he'll be able to add some context to that, I have mixed feelings about that situation, and I can absolutely explain my mixed feelings about it. But I've always been a believer that you have the relationship that you want to have. I definitely believe that you should have the relationship you want, and if that is a relationship that works for someone, who am I to tell them differently? Who am I to say don't have this relationship? Like, that's not on me to say. If someone feels that that's a good relationship for them, if they feel like sharing a partner is where they want to go, should we judge? I mean, I know that I don't want to die alone. So, hey, Jeff, I am a mess tonight. Unfortunately, Twins isn't here, and I worked really hard to go live simultaneously on Instagram and on YouTube, and for some reason, my phone will not, well, my iPad actually will not let me be great. And so I am on the screen and not on the screen at the same time as I am, why my phone just will not allow me to be absolutely great and go live simultaneously on both of my channels. But it's just one of those things, even though I set this up way over an hour ago, it's decided that, you know what, Toshiba, we don't care. We're not going to let you do what you need to do. And so here I am, still trying to figure it out. And if I just got this right, I will be able to go live right now. It will not let me be freaking great. It will not let me be great. And so this show is going to be very short tonight. Unfortunately, Twins is unable to make it. I just found out last minute, but I am going to be here for at least another couple of minutes. Happy to answer any questions, to hear my thoughts on any of the relationship matters that have been floating around on the internet. I know that one of the big things people have been talking about is the whole Coldplay situation. So that's been an interesting one. The topic that I was going to talk about tonight, I'm actually going to delay it until next week because I really want to hear Twins' concept about this as he's out there and he is dating in relationships. So the concept is about, should women consider living an alternative lifestyle if they can't find a good man, especially if that good man is with somebody else. So that is that. And if this thing would allow me to be great, I would be able to do what I need to do, but it will not. I just do not know what's going on. None of my phones will allow me to go live on. I don't know. Jeff, thank you for joining. Do you have any questions for me? Anything that you want to ask as I am on? I already had done my makeup, so I decided to go live instead of like canceling the show. And again, I'll be here and answer any questions and also try to figure out why in the world I simply cannot go live. Since I did this last night on my other platform, I was able to go live on both platforms, but for some reason tonight it will not allow me to be great. And so here I am. So I'm going to pause for a little bit, see if there are any questions that come up. This new platform isn't the same as the old platform, so pardon me if I'm fumbling around a little bit. I'm really just trying to figure this all out. And without Twins here, it really is like me talking to myself until people ask me questions. So I'm going to pause for the cause and wait to see if any questions pop up. And if no questions, then I will end and we will absolutely do this again next week. No, 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 no. No, no, no. No, no, no. We are building something over here, Jeff. This is why I decided I was going to go live. Anyways, we're definitely building a family. This is how I feel about everyone here on YouTube. It is like a family. Sometimes dysfunctional, but we are a family nonetheless. And I did not want to not jump on since I was already ready and explain that unfortunately twins can't be here, and that's it. Here's the thing, Jeff, and this is a great question. So I'm going to put it up here. It's funny. This is why I am trying to go live simultaneous on Instagram and on YouTube. For some reason, I can't seem to get female subscribers and female to actually join on YouTube. I don't know what it is, but the majority of my Instagram followers are female. So just the history of the show. This show started almost 4 years ago in September 2021 on Instagram. And the female following, I have a huge female following on Instagram, but for whatever reason, once I started doing it mostly on YouTube, my subscribers are 100% male. I didn't even know that was possible to have a channel run by a woman that was 100% male. And I don't know if the topics are not appealing enough for women. I don't know if it's because I hold myself and women to a higher standard and therefore holding us accountable so they don't want to be here. I am not sure what it is, which is why, again, I'm trying to get my Instagram folks simultaneously online so we can have this conversation. And despite me doing everything I was supposed to do, it will not go live. It will just, I am unable to go live. Here's the thing, my friends are not going to have, this is again a great thing. My friends will chime in offline and we will have conversations about the show. It was funny because I was having conversations with them this weekend, just kind of about the show, but they're not the people who are going to come online. Like my friends are not going to come online. They're not going to necessarily come in the comment section and make comments. They'll talk to me about it offline when they see the clips. But they're just not. And I understand their lives are different, their lives are busy, they've just got different things. They support me in different ways, but they're unfortunately not just gonna jump on. And plus, I don't want it to necessarily be my friends. I actually want it to be people who come from varying backgrounds. Like my friends and I have been friends for 20 plus years, some 30 years. Um, and so they understand my mindset and they understand me. I want it to be a conversation that's a little bit more unbiased from people who don't know me, from people who are just coming online because they agree or disagree, particularly if you disagree with some of the things that I have to say. And so, yes, I do absolutely get support from my friends, but not in the way that they would actually um, come on the show. And I am still actually trying to go live on, and I don't know what it is that I'm doing wrong because I did everything right. Um, Last week. It says it's streaming, but it's not. It's actually not streaming on Instagram. I mean, on YouTube at all. And this is why I really wanted it on Instagram so that we could actually get like a real female perspective because we're missing that. I don't want to be the only woman just having this conversation. I feel like I'm speaking into the void because I do want this to be a fruitful discussion. I have gotten that. I have gotten that I am pandering to men and I am a pick me. I got that a lot when I started the show with my now ex fiance. I'm not pandering to men, I won't say that, but I understand some of the frustrations and challenges that men have because I feel some of their frustration. As a woman who has also dated women and could potentially still date women in the future, I wouldn't put up with some of the BS that I see men have to deal with. Bye. I don't have the patience for it. And I don't think calling us out on our BS is pandering. I do believe that women are the moral fabric of society. I've always believed that. And so for me, when I see us not upholding ourselves to higher standards and then blaming everyone else, particularly men, for the reason why we're not doing that, I have an issue with it. I have an issue. I believe we have such innate power and we're not using it. So if that's pandering to men, I guess whatever. It is what it is. But I think it's called holding each other accountable. I expect my friends to hold me accountable. Like right now that my breast is falling out, my girl would be like, "Why are your breasts falling out?" And they're falling out because I don't like to tie my dress like this. So I've tied it around, and now they're all out. Anyhow, but yeah, you're right. That might be it. But at the end of the day, I really want to have an open dialogue. I want to have an open discussion. That's why I created the show. Like when I said I wanted to change the conversation around Black relationships, I really meant it. And it wasn't a one-sided thing. And my relationship status has changed since I started this show. Again, I used to do this show with my ex. I thought it was gonna dum dum da dum down the aisle, and I didn't. And I've had to take a look at myself and figure out, kind of where I went wrong and what I need to change to make sure that I can fulfill my desire of being a wife again. So I don't think trying to learn from men of how to be a more valuable woman to them is pandering. That's just that's just my opinion. But again, that's just me. Um, Jeff, I don't know. Um, I don't know. I don't know. That is the thing. And again, I would love to hear a woman's point of view about that, about why they would think that is. Is it because am I pandering because I agree and I can see a male's perspective? Is that what pandering is? Interesting. That's the thing. I've always, and that's always been my thing. Even in my professional life, I used to oversee a staff of 13. And one of the things I used to say to them when they would get complaints or anything for the campuses they oversee. So I was the regional manager, um, and it was basically like a superintendent for a private school. And I would say you need to listen to understand and not listen to respond. And how you know you're listening to understand is when you're able to hear what they say, and then repeat it back to them, even if it's in your own words, to make sure that you're both on the same page before you continue down the road of having a discussion. Because there's no sense in trying to have a discussion with someone when you did not hear anything they had to say. You filtered it through whatever you wanted to filter it through. And at this point, you're on two different pages and you're not going to solve anything. I treat my relationships like a business because it's the same foundation to build a successful business, right? It's partnership. And so why would I not listen to understand? Because if there's something that I need to fix because I desire partnership, if enough men are saying that this is an issue, I need to take that in and figure out, am I part of the solution or am I part of the problem? And self reflection is very difficult for a lot of people. And I completely understand that. I completely understand that self reflection is probably one of the hardest things for people to do. But the reality is, it's what needs to be done in order for us to get better. So I'm just trying to read all the comments. Hey, Mr. Continued from last week, I said you cannot be healed if you cannot be held accountable. Even in Alcohol Anonymous, they say the first step to recovery is admitting you have a problem. You hit the nail on the head. But I think that is the hardest part of interpersonal relationships. Think about it. You want, what you're saying is you want me to look within myself and admit the flaws within myself and say to you that those flaws are the reason why we are not having the best relationship we should be having. Do you understand that that's much harder than me just projecting and saying that you're the problem? If you're always the problem, I never have to fix myself. If I just insert person here, then I never have to fix myself. And fixing myself takes work. Whereas blaming someone else doesn't take any work at all. Zero. And I have to take zero accountability for that. And I have to do zero self reflection. It is just a constant projection. So yeah, I agree, right? And I think what a lot of people are having difficulty in relationships with is recognizing when they are the problem. I can recognize when I've been the problem in some of my relationships. I can recognize when I walked into something thinking I could handle it, being in a situation and going, ah, fuck. And either making the decision to walk away or to stay and make both of us miserable. Because that's what happens when you stay in something that no longer serves you. You're making both of the people in that relationship miserable, or you walk away. Because you can walk away from a relationship, no harm, no foul. The hardest thing is actually to do is walk away from a relationship where everything on the surface is good, but you recognize that this is just not going to go in the direction I want it to go. And instead of harming myself or harming the person, and I don't mean physically harming yourself, but you understand, like emotional harm sometimes does more damage than physical harm in relationships because people carry those baggages into other relationships. So now, going back to Jeff's point, I absolutely wish more women would come and follow this show. And I am hoping once I fix the technical difficulties, which I was hoping to do tonight, but for some reason this thing will just not let me be great. I was hoping to be able to fix those technical difficulties tonight so we can bring my Instagram audience into this because, again, on Instagram, I have a lot more female viewers than I have male. Sorry. I'm getting like used to this. Um, that is very true. So, why is that, Mr. Mister? Why do you think it's easy for you to hold yourself accountable? I'd be curious to know that because I think it's also easy for me to hold myself accountable. But what I'm realizing when I delve into the discourse that happens online between men or women or amongst women about men or amongst men about women, there seems to be this conversation about a lack of accountability. Women say that men lack accountability, and men are saying women lack accountability, but its accountability starts with self. So why is it easier for some of us to be able to hold ourselves accountable while others would rather deflect and put it on someone else? I know that I can speak for myself that this is a habit that I started when I was in my 20s and I'm now in my 40s, right? There was some, I was going through something. I was about 22 or 23 years old, and I remember standing in front of the mirror. This is a true story. I stood in front of the mirror and I was butt ass naked, and you don't get more vulnerable as a woman than being butt ass naked in front of a mirror. So I remember standing in front of a mirror and I was butt ass naked and I was having this conversation, and I was like, I really need to stand here to better understand, am I the woman that I am projecting out to the rest of the world? Who am I really? And I went through all of it, and it was breaking down, who am I versus who am I pretending to be? And once you get those two things congruent, and they come together, it is the most beautiful thing ever. But if I had continued to just, and again, I was 22, 23, and if I had lived my life continually projecting my issues, my problems onto other people, I would not be the woman sitting here at 45 years old. So again, to Jeff's earlier point, if women consider that pandering, good on them. I call it someone who's self-aware and has great self-reflection. Mr. Mister, When I hold myself accountable, I'm the one scrutinizing me rather than someone else. I can keep the process hidden from everyone. I'd rather wash my dirty drawers instead of someone else seeing them dirty. I like that. I actually like that quite a bit. I like that concept quite a bit. Now, I think that comes with self assurance. I think that comes with self esteem. If you already have esteem within yourself, if you are already assured about who you are as a person, you can do that. I would say to somebody else, I don't need outside validation. I already validate or invalidate myself. I am the person who tells myself every good or bad thing about me. It is nice to hear it from someone else, right? My love languages are words of affirmation is number one, and quality time is number two. I love to hear from my partner that they think I'm beautiful and amazing and wonderful. But that starts from within me because somebody can tell me everything I want to hear and I still don't believe it. So would you say for yourself, Mr. Mister, do you think that you're able to do that because you have a high esteem within yourself and you don't look for outside validation because you affirm yourself? And if I think about it, think about all of the people that we meet in this world who need outside validation. This is what social media has become today, right? Everything is about outside validation, the likes, the comments, the hearts, all of these things, the red hot emojis, the fire emojis, all of these things have become a lot of people looking for validation from other people. Not, I mean that figuratively, literally. I refuse to let my wash my dirty drawers for that exact reason, right? Um, No, I am curious, but seriously, Mr. Mister, do you think it's the fact that you have a high esteem, you hold yourself in high regard, you hold yourself in high esteem, you're not looking for outside validation? Again, I'm speaking for myself, so I'm curious to know if that's the same because I think there is a correlation between people who have very high self-esteem, very high self-worth, who affirm themselves, who are not looking for outside validation. I think there's a high correlation between that and being able to self reflect and hold yourself accountable. Now, I do have a psychology degree. I haven't pretended to do the study or read on it, but this is from my own personal experience. I find that when someone has very low self esteem, and they're trying to project to the world that it's high self esteem, then that's when it's hard to hold yourself accountable or to self reflect. Because to do so is to see the flaws in your theory that you're this amazing person. So, Mr. Mr. Yeah, you could say that I have spent a lot of time doing self reflection. I know my value, my real value, not just saying what entitled people say. I know my flaws and I know my strengths, so I don't need the outside validation is what I'm assuming you're saying. And I completely agree. That's how I feel about myself. That's how I feel about myself. I know me. I don't need you to tell me my flaws. I know them. I don't need you to tell me my strengths. I know them. I don't need you to tell me my weaknesses. I know them. Why? Because I've had to do a self evaluation. Because only by doing that am I able to succeed in the world. Only by doing that can I be a success in this world. Whether that is as a parent, whether that is as a friend, whether that is as a professional, whether that's being in a relationship. If I go into something with someone else, any type of relationship, and I don't know who I am as a person, my strengths, my weaknesses, my major flaws, how can I ever be successful? And I don't get there without doing self-reflection. And I don't get there without holding myself accountable. And so I think it's funny that when we are evaluating people in our life, we need to start looking at some critical things. Does this person require outside validation? Because often people who require outside validation are looking for other people to make them happy when happiness is within. You see what I'm saying? Like, so it's one of those things. Like, sometimes the reason these relationships we complain about are failing is because we didn't do our due diligence. If you don't do your due diligence, how do you expect a relationship to be a success? You haven't done your due diligence. It is impossible. It is impossible for you to ever be in a situation where you are going to say, oh my God, this is really successful, if you haven't done your due diligence. It just doesn't work that way. It absolutely does not work that way. So I think one of the things that we need to be looking at, and again, we can talk about this more in the conversation with twins next week, is what are the questions that I need to ask so that I can eliminate people in my life or bring people into my life? Like, what are the questions that I'm missing? Because I guarantee you, we are missing certain questions. All of these complaints that I keep hearing online about relationships and how bad relationships are and how bad people are, and this person has done all these things to me. I'm I just cannot believe that there are so many bad people in the world, that all of these terrible, bad people are doing all these awful, bad things to people consistently without you somehow playing a part in what's happening to you. And how do we play a part? It's because we are the ones who determine who's in and out of our life. And therefore, if you're consistently letting not so great people into your life, then what do you expect is going to happen? And sorry, guys, I am still actually trying to test something here. So give me a moment. Sorry if I'm off. And if I'm able to do this, this is going to be amazing. And I can actually get some views from, let's see, guys, give me 1 second. I thought I had this all figured out, and then I didn't. And so I'm really trying to make this all work. Can it work? We're about to find out. Can it? And it's still not working. So never mind. Technical difficulties and it is not working. So that's going to be the show for tonight. Sorry, I'm not having a longer conversation, but again, unfortunately, Twins was unable to make it. I was already ready. We are going to delay our conversation that was supposed to happen um, tonight to next week when Twins is able to do it. But I do want us to start thinking about, do we need to change our dating strategy? And I think it's really a question for the women. Um, do we need to change our dating strategy if we truly do believe that there's only a certain, small percentage of great men out there and some of these men are already taken? Do we need to look at dating a little bit differently? So oh, Mister, you're here. Let me see if I can add you. There you are. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? This is a new platform, so pardon me. Hopefully, hold on. Give me 1 second. Yeah, you're supposed to be on. I don't know. Can you hear me? Because I can't hear you. And it says you are on. I'm going to give it 30 seconds. See
How
if
about
this
now?
connects. Ah, there we go.
All right. Looks like I got a. Looks like I had to connect it to my headset. Hmm.
All good. I'm connected to mine. What's going on? Thank you for joining me. And Twins is not here. I was just about to end, but let's do it. What do you want to talk about?
Interesting setup we got here.
Yeah, I am. I'm
Well,
trying a new platform, and it's like ridiculous.
mm-hmm. Yeah, I just got here and I see Twins isn't here, so
He's not.
I don't know what happened. But I figured
He's
it's
unfortunately. It was last minute. He was unfortunately last minute, unable to make it. So I was already ready and put on makeup, which I don't put on throughout the day. So I said I might as well come online.
I it'd be like that sometimes. I almost wasn't here 'cause I just finished working like 14 hours, probably longer, I forget. And
I get
y'all
that.
like to
I've
come
been
on
there.
late and I'm falling
You know
asleep
what?
halfway through the stream.
It's nine or 9:30. Stop this. 9 or 9:30. We come on. It's not
Well,
that
I
late.
was up
It's people
working at
hour.
5 a.m.
Yeah, you and twins do the early thing.
Yep,
Yeah,
early
I
birds.
yeah, I don't do that. I'm still sleeping at 5:30. I get up at 6 something, and then I start my writing and gym and whatever else I need to fit into the day. But what's going on with you? Thank you for all of these for these comments. And it's funny, and if Jeff is still on, I love the fact that there's this idea that I pander to men from women, which I find very interesting. I don't see that as a problem. Quote unquote, I don't think I pander to men. I think I listen to men. I think I listen, as Jeff said, to understand and not just to respond, because my goal is to be a wife again. And who else am I going to listen to but men if I want to be a man's wife?
Well, that touches on something I was gonna say before I came on, but what you were talking about with all the nonsense people say online, I was gonna say, ironically, social media is full of antisocial people.
Fact,
So that's what they tend to say. Anytime you're
fact.
doing something you're supposed to be doing in any kind of relationship with the opposite gender, they got some kind of nonsense to say about it, like as if that's not what you're supposed to be doing. So,
Such a good point. Honestly, that is such a good point to make. It's funny. I had this whole campaign a couple years ago during COVID where I said that people needed to bring back the social part back in social media, right? Like there is this idea that you can sit behind a keyboard and be a keyboard bully and say whatever you want to say that you would of course never say to somebody. Like most people would never say that to me if they saw me in real life. And there's a lot of socially awkward people trying to now have relationships and they don't know how to be interdependent. And what's up? I see Twins is in the comment section. He says, appreciate you, Mr. for coming on and holding us down. But for me, I think relationships are not as difficult as social media keeps telling us they are. It is two people getting together and being able to form a relationship based on shared values.
facts.
Um, like,
And real
is that
quick,
hard?
what up, twins? No, not hard at all. But what up, twins? I can't see the comments, but
Let me put it up. Let
what
me put
up?
it up.
Okay,
Can you see it? It was there. Is it there?
I gotta scroll up. All right, there we
Did
go. Now I
you see
see.
it? Yeah, right. So for me, it's like I created this show based on that, so people could figure out how do they find out from their perspective person whether they share values. Like, let's get all of the superficial stuff off the table, right? If we take away the superficial aspects of the height of a man, the chest size of a woman, the big booty, the beauty, the hair, the whatever. Like, well, take that away. Move it away. Even though the girls are on the same night, but move it all away. What are the true values that you have, that you share, that you want, that you know is important to build the foundation of a relationship that you want? Because I truly do believe that people should build the relationship they want, absolutely 100%. However, do you know what it is that you want? Do you know what will work for you and what will not work for you? I would say to people, I would never date someone like myself. I would never date a version of me. I'm exhausted. I would never want a version of myself. And so I look for men who are like literally almost the opposite of who I am, because I know that that's what works for me. And I look for men with certain values that I want. And I don't think the dating stuff is as hard as it is. And we are boohooing on the internet about, and it almost feels like people are talking into an abyss, because I'm like, it's not that hard.
Nope.
Men are not that bad. Women are not that bad. We're really not all that bad. It's just that when you end up with the wrong person, yes, it can be awful. So
Mm-hmm.
stop dating the wrong person.
Yeah. And like you said, you're supposed to have the same values as each other. And I'm just thinking of all kinds of examples. And the first few I thought of probably
Mm-hmm.
don't pertain to this, but just between me and her, one thing that comes up to mind, I'm just thinking of my own relationship. I got one rule.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've said before, you have to agree on how to fight, so to speak.
Mm.
And
Mm.
one of those things is one of my rules is we're not gonna yell at each other. I've never yelled at any of my girlfriends, and I'm not trying to start now. And my most previous ex turned out to not agree with that, and that's why she's now an ex.
Mm.
And I still never yelled, but I it's just like, well, hey, you just gotta go before you get me doing that, and that's just how it's gonna be.
Here's the thing, I love that, because in my previous relationship with my ex that I started this show with, our basic rule was no disrespect. If it looked like, smelled like, felt like, seemed like it was going to be disrespectful, it was not to be done, because we were not going to tolerate disrespect. And so the basis of our relationship became communication. Because what happens is disrespect usually comes from miscommunication. So if you're not communicating effectively, that's when, like, because I'm not the blah blah raising the hands, the snapping of the head, like that's too much. Like I'm not doing that. I barely raise my voice when I'm talking to someone. So for me, I love the fact that you said that. You are creating boundaries. You're creating foundation. A lot of relationships now, I always say, are built on quicksand. They have no foundation.
Hmm.
There has to be rules of engagement. Well, it's funny because Twins and I talk about this all the time, but I never get. Everybody understands that there's rules to your job. A lot of jobs have moral clauses in the contract. A lot of jobs have NDAs. They have non-compete. It's what you do when you're on the job and what you do if you leave the job. That's literally the rules in a contract when you sign your employment contract. While you were in this position, here are the things that you're supposed to do. And if you don't do those things, it can lead to you being fired, let go, put on a performance review, whatever it is. And if you decide to leave or we decide to make you leave, you are also not allowed to do these things. You can't disparage the company. There's a non-compete. You can't start a competing company. We quickly signed those contracts with no issues. Why do we shy away from that concept in a relationship? That there are rules of engagement in a relationship.
Good question. Because a lot of this is related to the same process you go through when getting a job. The
Mm,
interview process is the date. The actual relationship is the job, the day-to-day job, the things that you're responsible for every day, the things that they're responsible for day to day. When someone violates something, you have a meeting, you talk about it, you have corrective behaviors. You do all that stuff in a job, and it's the same things you're supposed to be doing in a relationship, especially one that's supposed to last forever, such as a marriage. Because it's not going to be smooth, from day one till the last day. There are going to be things that come up, and you're going to have to deal with them, and you have to
That
deal with
part.
them in a healthy, respectful manner.
Couldn't have said it better. This is why I said this stuff is not as hard as we are making it. But I've said this before, and I think too many of us are bringing egos, like huge egos, into relationships. Like it's not supposed to be a battleground. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it's not a battleground. There's a lot of people coming into relationships with all of this armor that they're bringing in, and they're just like their backup is against the wall, and they're just ready for a battle. And I'm thinking, oh my God, like please put that down. Put down all of the baggage and come into this fresh, ready to be a lover, not a fighter. And I know that's difficult for a lot of people, and that's why therapy is important. Like, there are too many unhealed, pretending to be healed people going into relationships and bringing these toxic behaviors. But again, those same people don't have the same attitude in their job.
Hmm.
And I don't understand it. I've changed jobs every like 3 years in my career. I say, yeah, I've done what I need to do at this job, and I try to find another job to make more money, to get more experience, whatever it is that I decide to do. I don't want to change boyfriends or husbands every 3 years. That's not what I want to do. But guess what? When I'm in that job, I'm on my best behavior. Not my best behavior. I'm not doing all of this, and why would I do that? Because I wouldn't be on that job, and they wouldn't be a reference for me for when I'm going to my other job. So it's funny how, again, we will treat our professional life that really end a lot. That my professional life might end in the next 10 to 12 years. My hope is to be married until I'm in the ground, which 30, 40 years, I pray in Jesus' name. So why are we putting so much effort and time and attention and all of that into these jobs, but we're not doing the same in our relationships? That's always been a confusing concept to me, and it forever will be. And I would love someone to explain it to me. As a woman or a man, why is your behavior on your job? Why can't you take that and replicate that success in a relationship?
Yeah, good question. And it also brings up something someone said earlier today in a conversation I had. I'm trying to remember exactly what it was. Um, Gee, I just lost the thought.
It will come to you next week.
Next week. Ain't that a B word?
Well, I want to thank you, Mr.
Oh,
Mister.
I remember. I
Go ahead. I'm
remember.
ready. I'm ready.
We're talking about marriage, and
Okay.
women were saying like, I don't understand why he doesn't want to marry me. And
Hmm.
the point was brought up, hey, what are you doing to incentivize him to want to marry you specifically? And she didn't have an answer. And we're like, well, you people need people need an incentive to want to do something. They don't just decide to just want to do something out of the blue. So, what is it that you are doing for him to want to marry you specifically? You need to have an answer for that. And, you know, although it's men that ask women to marry them, men have to do the same as well. We have to give her incentives to want to be married
Want to
to
say
us.
yes. Correct.
And relationships are not a one-sided thing. They're both sides have to be doing things that make the other side want to do things and to want to stay and work things out with you. But that in this antisocial social media tends to get skipped over a lot. People don't know what they're supposed to be doing, or they don't even care that they need to be doing something. They just, I want this, I want that, I want this, I want that. Well, what are you doing to deserve that? Because you don't deserve it just because.
What do you mean? I live in a world that's deserving. Just because I'm a woman, Mr. I am deserving.
Right.
Thank you. Exactly. Even it coming out of my mouth sounded ridiculous to me.
Hmm.
Do you understand? And again, those same women would have an answer if asked if they were sitting with the job of their dreams. Why should we hire you? What makes you great for this job? I bet you they practice that, especially with Chatavius, with ChatGPT these days. Chatavius is helping people land jobs, and Chatavius is over there helping them to refine the answer to that question. So when they walk out of that job interview, they feel great. Why are we not doing the same for the men that we want and we say that we desire? If I should have an answer, what have I done to incentivize this man to marry me? I have been his peace. I have been by his side through good and through bad. I have been his confidant. I have been his best friend, and I will continue to be there with him through thick and thin. I have showed up when needed and when not needed. Right? Like, I should have an answer. And it should just flow off the top of my head because I've done those things. Other than just my mere existence of being in his life. That is not enough. My mere existence of logging on at 9 o'clock and logging out at 5:30 or 6 o'clock does not give me the promotion. The mere fact that I showed up and did my job does not give me the promotion. How do I get the promotion? By overachieving, by exceeding expectations, by blowing all of my other colleagues out of the water with the work that I do and the level that I do it at. It is the same when I'm trying to find a husband. How do I get those other women out of the way so that I'm the last one standing? By exceeding his expectations.
I think somebody
By,
said that recently. Somebody who's a twin. I'm pretty sure they said that recently.
well, Twin and I are on the same page. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But that's
You don't
that's
just
the
get a raise because you
reality.
showed up every day.
But we
Yep.
want to get we want to get a promotion in a relationship just by showing up.
Hmm. Where else in the world does that work?
Nowhere,
I'd like to know.
nowhere, nowhere, nowhere. And those are the things that I'm saying that to me is not that difficult to understand. And if that qualifies as pandering to men, that I'm guilty. But to me, that's logic and common sense. I applied that same logic and common sense to my career. I applied that same common logic and common sense to when I write books, how I raise my daughter, how I interact with other people that I'm in relationships with. It's the same logic and common sense that I apply. So why would I not also apply that with, again, the man who I hope to one day change my last name? It just, to me, it doesn't make sense to not approach relationships, especially for women who told that we're the most educated and all of these different things, but we can't take that same concept and apply it to me, something that's a little bit more important. I think our relationship is more important than my career. I'm just going to say it.
It is.
Relationship is more important than my career any day. And I hope to get married again. And if my husband said, babe, I got a promotion and we got to move to Dubai, we got to move to Malaysia, guess what? Bye bye job because I'm following my husband. I'm not going to
There you
say,
go.
babe, but what about my job? No. Part of my job now is being his wife. That's the role I got promoted into. But I think that mindset. I mean, I've been told that that mindset belongs in too. So
Hmm.
whatever.
And I was also gonna say, um, even when men are working with each other, nobody gets to say like, "Oh, I'm gonna be the leader just 'cause I'm a man." No. Even when we work
Thank
with each
you.
other, it's like, "Hey, you're good at this, you're good at that, so you do this, you do that. I trust that you're gonna get this done. I trust your decisions and getting it done. So that's why you're gonna be in charge of that." That's how we even
Facts.
work amongst ourselves. You don't get something just because. I mean, there's things that you do, there's habits that you have that say, okay, I can trust this person to get this done. And that's how we approach relationships also.
And we're actually going to end the show on that. We're not even going to do our dating tips. We're going to leave that to next week. That was a great way to end the show. And I want to thank Mr. for coming and keeping me company and joining me while Twins unfortunately was unable to come live. But Twins, know that we are thinking about you, and we will see everyone next week. Mr. I'm just going to, any last minute words before I get you off the screen?
Uh, nope. Just be safe out there and take some self-reflection and see where you went wrong. It'll take you so much further than what you're doing.
Love it. Listen, everybody, that's great. Thank you, Mr. I'm just going to pop you off the screen here, and I'm going to say good night. Thank you, everyone, for joining next week. I hope to be simulcasting on Instagram and on YouTube because, to Jeff's point earlier, I am looking for the female perspective, and that's where I find them is on Instagram. So I will see you next week. I will be back with twins next week. Good night, everybody. Bye.